Go.
Okay, welcome guys. My name's Daniel, and I'm obviously going to be taking you through the next 90 minutes of about the universal curriculum that the organisations that we're going to speak about in a minute have put together. I'm really happy to be here today. Blessed, obviously. My journey's been kind of up and down over the last few years, to say the least, and this is what's brought me back to myself and found myself again, all this understanding. So I'm really pleased to be here today. I'd like to obviously introduce Jacqueline from Beyond Recovery, Brooke from Spark Initiative, and Anna from Insight Alliance. And they're going to be discussing exactly what the curriculum entails and how they come about doing it. You can obviously have some Q&As as well. And at any time you want to ask questions or anything pops into your mind that you want to ask, you can just put that in the chat box, and I'll bring it up to their attention as and when. So yeah, that's good. What we're going to be doing, we're going to be having some breakouts. So we'll be going into separate breakout rooms, doing some activities. Hopefully they'll be fun and you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the feeling there. Also, we're going to hear some stories. I think Derek's speaking and Wilson speaking to share their stories. You might hear a little bit from me, who you have already. And then we're going to go from there. So I hope you've got all your drinks and teas and coffees and whatever you prefer. I hope that's at the ready, because we're going to have a party. All right. So thank you very much for being here today. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it to Jacqueline, and she's going to start by sharing a little bit about herself with Brooke and Anna and Derek. So away you go, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Jacqueline Hollows, and I'm affectionately known as Mama J, and I've been working in the UK criminal justice system for the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm old school, so I was just teaching from the heart, and you know, sitting and having conversations, and that was wonderful and had wonderful impacts. But I became very, very curious about what was going on over at the Spark Initiative. And I was very fortunate a couple of years ago to go and shadow the girls there in schools and realise the potential that a curriculum could have. So that sort of started our journey, didn't it, Brooke? And then we've evidenced our programmes, and the curriculum is born out of the evidence programmes that we've run. So that's a bit about me. Anna, do you want to jump in? You're on mute, sweetie.
Mute, that'll help. Makes it easier to hear. Hi. I founded the Insight Alliance, I think about 4 years ago now, but I started my, I guess, journey of working in the prison system with Jacqueline. It was about 5 or 6 years ago now, and got the opportunity to run programs and stuff there for about a year. And then I fell in love with the work and the population. And so when I moved back to the States, and I really wanted to continue working in prison. So I started the Insight Alliance and started working in prisons. We started in one men's prison, and then the women's, and then the youth. And so now we're in 4 facilities. And what came up for me was when, you know, we started getting to more prisons and more people wanted our program. And we needed to start, you know, training teachers, because there's only so much I can do. There's only so many programs that I can run. And so, you know, I started creating a kind of very basic curriculum just for our team and the people that we were working with. And then I had a conversation with Brooke, because Brooke and I are part of the IOS collective with Mara and Eric. And we were having a conversation about kind of how helpful it would be to have a proper kind of robust curriculum that we could actually, you know, develop teachers to then be able to kind of really be able to run with this, and it needed to be something more than what I'd created at the Insight Alliance. So then we had a conversation, and Brooke said, Well, I've had a conversation with Jacqueline because I know that she was interested in creating a curriculum. And then it made sense for all of us to get together and have a conversation. So we went over to Florida, which was lovely, 2 years ago now, before COVID. So we had a lovely kind of musing session about what a universal curriculum would look like. Like, how do we want to create something that could work for this population, but also ultimately work anywhere. And so that's how the curriculum was born, and that's kind of, I don't know, that was December a year and a bit ago. So and now it's finally here. So that was the beginning of, for me, where it started. Brooke.
And hi, I'm Brooke. I work with the Spark Initiative in Tampa, Florida, and up to about 2 years ago, most of our work was with youth in schools, and we got the opportunity about maybe 2.5 years ago to work with the youth in the local jail through our school system. And so that was kind of our first our toe dipped in the water with working with the criminal justice system. And through that program, we were asked to work with the men and women, or the women in the jail, and so the conversation was, well, Jacqueline, Anna, what do you guys do? We're so used to working with kids. What do you do with the adults? And that's it's been such a wonderful learning experience to work with Jacqueline and Anna and learn from them and create something that is unique to the Spark Initiative and Beyond Recovery and Inside Alliance. It truly is like we are very different people, and we run very different businesses, but teaching the same thing. And so working together has been an incredible journey. And locally, we also work with sex traffic survivors, and Tampa is the number 3 for sex trafficking. And so we work at a local safe house. Jenna's here with us today, and she's worked with the women there, and we use the program in our local safe house as well as in our local jails with the women. So before COVID, we were going to work with men too, but that's kind of all been on hold. No one's been allowed in since 2020, but I'm just really excited that this day is finally here. It's really been a labor of love, and I can't wait to share it with the world.
Just a quick one for my mind. I just want to know kind of what do you say you work with youngsters as well? Is that your role? Or is that Anna's?
Yeah. So Anna works with youth
Anna works
in Oregon, but the Spark Initiative works mostly with youth, and I would say that's the majority of our work. But like I said, actually we've worked with the sex traffic survivors for probably 5 years, and just in the past 2 years started working with adults in our local jail system.
I'll just obviously now we're going to kind of guide it into sort of Derek's story, Omar's story. I don't, and like Wilson, I don't know who wants to go first or how you want to go about it, but I would like to hand it over to you guys to take it from here if you can. Just give us a little insight about yourself, where you found this understanding, and where you are now, really. So yeah, over to you guys.
Thanks for that, Dan or Daniel. Yeah, I'll go first if you don't mind. Omar, I'll share if you don't mind. Yeah, yeah, everybody. I'm Derek. Glad to see so many of you turned up. Some nice smiling faces. Yeah, let me give a bit of insight into me and to my background. I was, when I got this understanding, which the curriculum is basically based around, I was in prison at the time, and I didn't think my life needed any changing. I didn't think there was anything wrong with my life. And then I engaged with Beyond Recovery, and then it opened up my eyes to what was really going on and how much I needed to change, how much I really wanted to change in a natural way. And it's basically the same curriculum. It's based off of the same things that what used to turn my life around. But the curriculum's being put in a more, because the groups were just flowing and we just speak. So now the curriculum's more of a way to get that feeling across for facilitators and because like what Brooke said, we can't spread ourselves everywhere. So we decided to make a curriculum that could go out and could spread the same message. And I've looked at the curriculum, I've seen it, and I've seen the impact that it had on me. And I know that it could have the same impact on other people because, like I said, I didn't think I needed anything. And that's how powerful it was for me to not think I need something and then see it and then realize how the hell was I living without it in my life was just eye-opening for me, and amazing, an amazing thing just to get to know myself. And that curriculum allowed me to access myself basically. And just through that and getting to know myself a bit better and getting to know the real me and where my thinking and my experience of everything's coming from, just allowed me to handle and tackle things that were appearing in my life a lot easier. And it helped me to just show up as me. And I think that's what the curriculum mainly does. It just doesn't turn you into a different person. It brings out the real you. And for me, that was unfamiliar for me. The real me was unfamiliar for me. And I was 46 years old. But it just brings about to me the beauty in creating something like this curriculum, because I know how much hard work went into it and all the love and effort that went into it. It does come out the other end when you're teaching it or when you're implementing it. That love does come through. And one thing I'll say about this curriculum is like, it's when you read it or when you try to facilitate from it, it's individual and it's bespoke, because when you read it, you interpret how you read what you're seeing, and then that feeling gets through to the people who you're trying to facilitate to. And that is the key part. That is the key part, the bit that taps into everybody's individualism. Even though it's a curriculum and it's set, it can tap into everybody's individual need or show them something individually as to what they might not know that they need, but something that they know that will help them. I hope I articulated that okay.
That was beautiful, my bro.
Lovely. Thank you.
So hey guys, I'm Omar Wilson. Can you hear me all right? Sweet.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I talk a lot, so stop me.
Right.
Just stop me. So I'm gonna take it way back to when I was a kid, basically. Just gonna integrate you a bit. I was it all kind of started when I was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. I got an older sister and a younger brother, and my mum, she kind of worked and did the whole rounds by herself. So with that ADHD and then the dyslexia, I was hard to handle, man. I kind of take my hat off to her now because I was really hard to handle. And something I realized about when I was aware of these principles from Beyond Recovery was I always knew myself, but I always covered it up. Always covered it up with my thinking of what I thought was possible, what I thought wasn't possible. But I always knew myself. I always knew what I kind of wanted to do, but I covered it up because I thought it wasn't the right thing to do, or it would make me look a certain way. Or so long story short, I was selling drugs for a long time, a really long time. And it led me to prison. And in prison, I was the same, hard to handle, really hard to handle. And it was my first time in prison. So I went through many courses, many courses, and none of them took my attention. I was really the class clown. I was loud. I was making jokes. Everyone's laughing. No one was getting taught because I'm just loud, laughing. And then I stumbled on Beyond Recovery. I was prepared to do the same thing with these ladies, but so for some reason, there was no telling you what to do. There was no advice. There was no direction, if that makes sense. It was like just pure conversation, which struck me because I ain't really had a conversation in a course. The second thing was curiosity. The curiosity that was that is in this curriculum is unreal, because once you're curious, everything else drops and you just want to know. And I feel like with that curiosity alone is why I learned the principles and is how I know this curriculum now. And the thing that's special about this curriculum is it's full of love. it's just full of love. And love is a universal language. And I realized that because Jacqueline's not from the same place as me at all. We grew up in totally different places, yet this curriculum connected us in a way where I was able to learn. And that was unlike any other thing, any other course I went through in prison. So to go through that in prison and come out and be a director now of Beyond Recovery and facilitate groups and share the love and share this curriculum and see people connect and understand, even though we're from separate places, just connect and see that we're all the same. The curriculum was beautiful for me. It done wonders.
Yeah, I just want, if I can come back in there, Omar, it's like, it brought me to see, to trust myself and to trust the love. Because like what you said, that word, what you use, love, I was frightened of that word before. But just being on this course, it kind of opened me up and showed me that that is not something to be that is not something to be frightened of. And to trust that feeling in me. And the whole turnaround of my life basically came about through me willing to be brave enough to truly love myself and then truly see the love in other people. And that is what comes across from what I learned from Beyond Recovery, stroke, the curriculum, because it is basically the same thing, just bundled up in papers and just learn how to express the feeling. And that feeling will stay with me forever. It's the feeling that I came, when I was in prison, I didn't want to be there. I came out and I got into a like sort of low spot. And then that good feeling that was just welling inside me that from group that was in prison, that's what I wanted again. And I've never had that feeling longing for something what I found in prison. That's just crazy. But when I found it, it just elevated me again and made me move on to another level. And every day, I'm just so proud and appreciative of the journey that I made from coming from a position where I didn't think I needed any help to shedding that old skin and just totally going so many different levels above. And it's not, I wouldn't even say a one size fits all, because I had so many different issues, but I was in group with people who had other issues like addiction issues, and it cleaned up their addiction. I used to be a habitual cannabis smoker, but I never classed myself as like a real addict. But in spending time with people who I would have before then classed as real addicts, I saw that we was all just the same. And where I used it to address my offending behavior and my residual stubborn thinking, I see they used it to address their addictive behavior. And we was using the same thing, we're accessing the same thing that we've all got access to, our wisdom, and just knowing where I am in my thinking. And that is what comes across when this curriculum hit me, it's my thinking, and it's all down to me, and I need to take some responsibility. Take some responsibility for the love that I've got for myself. Take some responsibility for the love that I hand out and receive from other people. The buck basically stops with me. And it didn't come with a grating, oh, it's all on me. It came with, oh, lovely, it's all on me. Because you know what? If it's all on me, then that means I'm the only one that can correct it. I ain't looking on nobody else to correct what I've got going on. And who would I rather trust anything with to correct? Myself. So I felt good when I had that realization. And that all came about from basically jumping into something that I didn't think I wanted. And still now, up to this day, having the best moments of my life. So like Omar said, I didn't want to say it, but I do like talking as well. So especially when it's about me, but I'm going to stop talking right there. I'm getting the sign. Okay. That's me, I'll finish. Bye guys. I hope you lot got something what I said and understood what I was saying, and love you.
Honestly, that was lovely, Derek, and from you as well, Omar. It's lovely to hear. And I'd like to just kind of second and third what you guys are saying. I've been on the journey with you, you know, and it's obviously, I don't want to go too deep into about it at the moment myself, but because I want Anna to share about the curriculum. But the feeling I got in prison from this understanding, yeah, and was so freeing. Even though I was in prison, it was the freest I've ever been in my life. So how could I be in prison, locked away from my loved ones, my family and everyone, but feel free. So obviously that feeling, why wouldn't I want that feeling again? You know, and there is a way of life to be lived, and I believe the love, the feeling that comes from it, it's better than anything in the world. It's just as much as loving your newborn daughter and stuff like that. It's the same. It's all the same. So yeah, thank you, you guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it to Anna, because we're going to. Oh, does Mama J want to speak?
No, I just wondered if Jess wanted to join in at all.
That'd be great.
Right.
Do you want to? So Jet, yeah, what you carry on. So you just pop back in again. I wondered where you've gone.
My
Just
phone died. I
Yes.
apologize.
Some female perspective here.
Lovely. Please do. Bring it along. Let's hear it.
Okay, what perspective do you want me to bring in? The principles?
Well, yeah, just talk a little bit about your story, about about where we being in prison, and then like coming across this understanding and how it's been helpful.
I was in Anna's pilot program for Coffee Creek, and I joined for cinnamon roll. And that cinnamon roll was the best thing that ever happened to me next to Anna. When I joined her program, I was a year and a half into my 5-year set. I had a diagnosis of dissociative disorder. Basically, it's multiple personalities. I was a trauma abuse, whatever. I don't even like talking about it anymore, because the best thing I ever did was take Anna's 10-week course. And my life has been nothing but amazing since. I had my first insight about 4 or 5 weeks into the 10-week course. And life's been really good since, because of what I've learned through Anna's curriculum. I know my mind. I'm able to function in life as a normal person. I don't have nightmares or night terrors anymore. I've only been out of prison 10 months, and I've done so much, and I've been through just as much, but because of the understanding, like, I'm able to get past it, and I don't dwell on it, and a bad minute doesn't turn into a bad day or a high-speed chase with a gun and a standoff with SWAT. Sorry, it kills me every time I have to talk about it. Because you don't look at me and think that I'm that type of person, but the person you see right now, if you saw a picture of me 3 years ago, I'm not even the same person. This curriculum has changed my life. Finding the understanding has changed my life. Anna was the first person that ever told me that I wasn't broken and that I was whole, and everything I needed was already inside of me. And then she helped me to find it. So when I have bad days or bad moments, I get through them now. And I don't go use or get drunk. I don't ruin myself. If I have a moment, I'm able to sit in it. I don't try to figure it out. I've gotten my daughter back. I'm actually in Texas visiting my family for the first time in 15 years. I saw my father yesterday and today for the first time in 15 years. And because of the curriculum and this program, in the middle of what would have been a heated conversation that would have ended in me throwing things, my dad throwing things, and probably who even knows, I had some insight and realized that it was my expectations that were preventing me from having a decent relationship with my father, and that my expectations were never going to be met, and that it was okay to drop them and take my father as he is. if more people had this program, my life wouldn't have been what it is. And I don't regret 1 second of it, not one, because what's happened to me and who I am has made me what I am. And for the first time in my life, I love myself, and I owe all of it to Anna and the Inside Alliance and the principals. And I just want to give back now. And I do. I work with Anna. I'm training to become a teacher, and I'm a mentor. And I help as any way I can. And the universe has just opened up to me, and it takes care of me. And I don't live in the past. I don't worry about the future. I just live present and in the moment. And it's pretty awesome. And I've got a really good life now.
Thanks, Jess.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you very much. I'm so happy that you did speak. What a wonderful perspective, and a woman's perspective as well. Because obviously I hear a lot about the guys, you know what I mean? Because where I come from, so you don't really hear it from a female angle. So that was beautiful. Thank you. Anna, do you want to share anything, add anything to that, or do you want to go and discuss the curriculum now and
Yeah, we can talk a little bit
what
about
that entails?
Yeah.
Is that all right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
brilliant. So,
Good.
yeah, just give us an insight to what happens, how you do it, and what it entails, please. Thank you.
One thing that I was going to add before, but I was muted and then we went on, was that alongside running, sort of doing this curriculum, we've been doing a 2-year research project with Pacific University to actually, so at the end of this, it can be an evidence-based practice here in the States. They wanted our own research. So COVID has kind of slowed us up a bit on that, but we're still kind of in the process of getting our first paper out and still doing, hopefully when we get back in soon, we can do our last round. But I just wanted to mention that just because it's been a big process. It's been a long part of doing the curriculum and then sort of testing it as well alongside writing it and running our group. So the curriculum, it's like, as I think Omar had said, you come into the room or and you just share. That was how I was taught, or how I kind of was in my understanding of sharing the principles was kind of just come in and you share, and there was no, there wasn't a structure, there wasn't a curriculum. It was just kind of share what comes up, and then the conversation go, and it was great. It went always, not always. Sometimes it was a shit show, but it wasn't we didn't have an actual curriculum. And there's something that our intention of creating a curriculum was that it wasn't going to be there like, okay, you've got to study it and then you've got to do everything in order or whatever. It's like, well, no, it's just kind of, it's there to support the person in the room. So then the exercises and the activities that we create are pointing us in the direction of, what the objectives are of that week that could be helpful. So there may be like 2 or 3, objectives for the class, and a couple of exercises, and then a conversation or whatever. And it's up to the discretion of the person that's using the curriculum what resonates with them, because it'd be like, that really resonates with me. I can see that would be helpful, and something else may not. So it's definitely not something that's made to be like, you have to follow this and there's a one way to do it. It's like this curriculum was created so it could back up the person who's in the room, who's present with a group, with people. And it just kind of assists and is kind of a helpful guide to kind of for the direction. So there's a we start off kind of pointing people to their well-being and their innate health, and then we introduce the power of thought, and then the connection between thought and feeling, and how moods are gonna kind of have a reflection on our day, and then separate realities and moods, and labels and addiction. And there was a rhythm that we felt that was actually really helpful. But at the end of the day, anyone who's going to be, using the curriculum or for their own groups, there are going to be certain things that stand out and resonate, and maybe some don't. And it's not about kind of, like I said, following it. It's like, so it can give you some guidance and help to kind of do, to help you in the classroom in as many ways as we possibly can. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, bringing Play-Doh or cards or diagrams or talking points or various different things that we use along the way. So it is a 10-week program. You know, it's everything in it. I've actually printed it out because there's three adults in custody in Coffee Creek who are actually going to be running a virtual program for us. Mine's in color. And so it's got all the different diagrams and the various different things in it. And I haven't actually looked at it as a hard copy. I just keep scrolling, you know, looking at it all the time on the computer. But it's really amazing. And so I'm excited to take that down to the women in Coffee Creek so then they can run their own program with a virtual recording from us. But it kind of really, it's got facilitator notes, it's got kind of objectives, it's things that you need for the classroom. It's like, you know, different components. You know, it has resource lists for different kind of, you know, if you want to start with a meditation and some of Jane Tucker's readings that I always really love, but other resources that would be helpful, quotes from Sid or whatever it is, there's a whole variety of things that all three of us from our different organizations have found over the years to be really helpful. And the beauty of us doing it together is like, oh, I use that, oh, I don't use that, let's put that in because that's really helpful, and I do it like this, really, okay, actually that would be really great, let's bring that, and I put that here. What about listening? Where do we do that? You know, all these different things. It's been an amazing opportunity to kind of really stand back and reflect on how we deliver a program, and then to learn. You know, I learn so much from Brooke and Jacqueline in the process, because it's like we get to reflect on what was going to be most helpful in kind of the flow of a 10-week program. So like, to me, it's really there as a kind of supporting guide, you know, and kind of a direction, and like a bit of a GPS, you know, to kind of take us in a direction. But it's very kind of open and fluid, and it has a lot of hopefully all the information that you need in there. And I'm sure I'm missing stuff. So if you guys want to kind of jump in and share anything else that I've forgotten.
Jacqueline, can you add anything to that? I think you'd come across brilliantly, Anna. That was,
Yeah, I think that was perfect.
that drew me in.
I guess I would just say it's 10 sessions, and there are about 3 or 4 activities in each session. And as Anna said, there's resources at the end. It's very easy to follow, and we do it over 10 weeks. We've done it online, and you could do it over 10 days if you wanted to. So yeah, it's versatile.
And I think when you say that, you can do it over 10 days. You know, it's like we're running a program as an intensive, and it's the whole, you know, we'll just pick out things that we think would be helpful for you know, a 3-day intensive, and it may, you know, so it really is, it's like as versatile as it could be, and they can be standalone, and they can run, you know, depending on, you know, you may want to switch week 3, and you know, there may be weeks that look like different. So it's very kind of for individuals to really kind of play with it as they want. It's yeah.
Yeah, I'll just chime in. That's what I was going to say. I know when we work with Sail of Freedom, which is the women at the Safe House, it's an hour, and it's always different women. So it's never, they never really get a 10-week program. So, but we just pull out activities, and they're almost like conversation catalysts, just to kind of point the whole group in a certain direction. And that's just, you know, and sometimes we pull out activities and never actually do the activity because something else came up in the room, and that's wonderful too. But like Anna said, it's really just a support, because a lot of times when people start to teach, they kind of feel like, oh, is this going somewhere? Is this, what am I doing? What am I talking about? But it's really just like a guide. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys. Yeah, so obviously, for me personally, I just wanted to say that what you guys are doing is amazing, and obviously we can get into why and how, what made you come about it. But what I would like to do is can we go into some breakouts now and do some of that? Yeah, is that all right? So brilliant. So we're going to do some activities. We're going to break out into separate groups. So please feel free to join in. You don't have to do it, but just enjoy the feeling, because you're going to have a feeling with this. So just enjoy it, guys. So thank you. Who's taking us into groups? Is that Lindsay?
Lindsay, yeah.
Hey, go on, Lindsay. IT technician.
Hey,
Lindsay,
Lindsay, I
can
don't
you
know.
put Omar with? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Can you
that's
put Omar with Brooke?
Yes,
In
I
Brooke's
am
room.
working on it now. Just if everyone can give me 1 second, I'm just going to open the rooms in just a minute here.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Right,
Lindsay,
Lindsay.
rock star here.
Yeah, guys, just don't forget, if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat box, and we'll get round to them. Yeah, there's going to be plenty of space at the end as well to ask some questions, so don't be shy, get them in. Anything pops up, it might be relevant. All right, thank you. Just a quick one while we're waiting for Lindsay to pop us into groups. And I see that it said Insight to Wellbeing, and also on the video I see Insight to Wellbeing. Is that what the curriculum's called? Or
The curriculum,
Yeah.
yes, the curriculum is called Insight to Wellbeing. Yeah, I was about to say no, it wasn't, but it actually is. Yeah, no, it is.
I wondered where you were going then.
because I heard you say Insight to Wellbeing as well on the clip as well. So I just wanted to get that straight. That's all.
It is.
Thank you.
All right, I'm ready to open the rooms. Give me 1 second. You should all get pinged to join your breakout rooms.
Very much.
And Omar and Derek and Brooke, I think you guys are people are waiting for you in your rooms. Omar, if you're still there, we're waiting for you to join breakout room 1.
Cut off.
That's so cute.
Who's got that great laugh?
Harry.
Thank you.
That's
Hello,
what I'm
guys.
sorry. I have to say something. I love Harry's podcasts, but I love his laugh just as much as I love the podcasts. So,
I have to second
had to
that,
say
definitely.
I could recognize that laugh without even seeing his name.
Yeah.
Well, we had Omar was right in the middle of a story, and he was just
Apologize,
warm. He was just warming up, and just as he was just getting to, let's say, full mass, he got cut off.
You know what? You lot fooled me on the countdown. I thought the countdown was legitimate.
So I'm going to share my screen now, Danielle, for this next part. So just give me 1 second while I share my screen with training information.
No problem.
I won't.
So this for this part is Jacqueline and around Brooke. You're all chiming in with Lindsay and whoever else. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Great. Good stuff.
Oh yeah. So
This is where the juice is at.
this is where the juice is at. Okay, so these are the trainers. In addition to Derek and Wilson and the other special guests that might come in, we've already introduced ourselves, so you know all about that. There, and there's Derek and Wilson. So the next training we are running is May 4th, 5th and 6th at those times. It's a 3-day training program. It's $3,000 for each person, and that is for the training, the 3 days training, the license, which is a 12-month license, and an online community of support, and group training we can do differently. So what will be, you know, if a group of people needed to come together, then we can price that differently. And how you sign up is go to the website insighttowellbeing.org, and you can call any of those, any of us, but we can put all of this in and follow-up information afterwards. Is that the last slide? No, that's the last slide. Right. Okay, so the reason why we rolled this in together, the training and the curriculum, is that Anna really touched on this really well earlier, and Derek did as well, is that when what we want to do is we want to help support people. So what we've experienced, all of us, you know, been around a while, and what we've experienced is that I used to go into prison with my arms full of, you know, the different books and different exercises that I'd written out that week, and different ideas about how to keep the lads occupied for 3 hours. And eventually I put all those books and all those pieces of paper down and sat down and got comfortable with where we were at and whatever came up in the room. But that was pretty much like thrown in the deep end type training. That was like, right, here you go, get on with it, and, you know, teach what you know, and all of that sort of thing. What we've realized is that having the curriculum, which is based on what we've been teaching people, gives you a structure, gives you a handle, gives you a theme for that week. So in the last group of facilitators that I was working with, I saw that they felt a bit more confident, because that week, you know, that 1 week you might be talking about the power and the nature of thought. All you have to do then that week is talk about the power and nature of thought. Now, we'll all say, whatever comes into the room, you've got to go with that. So in my situation, for instance, people come in and they'd had a fight on the servery, or something had occurred on the phones with their relationships. You've got to speak to that and speak to the essence of the understanding. But equally, sometimes it's helpful, to me, it helped see that you could slow people down. And you could just be like, you don't have to rush into your training and teach people everything that you've learned in the last 10 years. It's like, actually, no, I've got something here to just hang my hat on a little bit. So that's, you know, that's one of the benefits that I've seen. And we wanted to create a community of a support network. So there's we've got, you know, between us like 20 years experience or something like that. And we've been through the pitfalls, we've been through the ups and downs. We know how difficult it is to get into some of the hard to reach places that we've worked in. And we wanted to be able to create a community that of people that could go, right, okay, how can we support you with that? Okay, well, this is, you know, these are the pitfalls that we came across, or here's a group of people that can help you do research. And this is a personal thing now, is that for me, when I first started working in prison, I didn't want to share Sid Banks's materials, for instance. I felt a bit like, oh, I don't know if people will like that, and I felt a bit worried about that. And I was encouraged to do so through some really wonderful first generation facilitators who came in. And then I started realizing, like, that's the thing that the men really resonated with. If I'd have had a list of resources, of recommended resources at that time, that wouldn't have happened to me. No, I'd have been able to go, oh, okay, other people have done that and that works out well. And I would have had more confidence with it. And other things that have happened to me have been things like, I don't know what else, where to go with this. Like I'm at this point now and I don't know where else to go. And then I'm able to see from working with this structure in the background that, oh, do you know what? We could try an activity here. I love having a conversation, but how I learn is experiential. And then when I started doing activities, I was like, oh yeah, other people learn like that. So other people get insights through different modalities, through drawing, you know, on the board, or through doing exercises. And this gave me much more of a structure to be able to experiment with modalities that I wasn't initially comfortable with. There's a few things there.
I just have to chime in real quick. One thing that I thought was, it's just a story about Jacqueline. I hope you don't mind that I share. But when we all three met in Tampa, we were just starting, like, I think we were like probably maybe 2 or 3 months into creating some of these activities. And us being the Spark people, I mean, we work with kids all day long, so we are activity driven. We love a good activity. And Ashley, who's not here today, she was teaching with me to the women in the jails, and she's even more of an activity person than I am. If you know Ashley, she's just like full of childlike life, right? So she can pull off any activity with any group of people. She's brought Play-Dohs to engineers. She does not care. She will throw you in the deep end with activities. But so we were doing some things that made it into the program and some things that didn't. But I remember we came back and Jacqueline said, oh my gosh, the feeling in that room was amazing. I didn't know that was possible with with the activities. And I think that's what's truly like really special about the three of us working together, is we are so different and we operate so differently, but the feeling has always been the most important part of what's getting across in the room.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and the ability to respond to whatever's in front of you, right? I've had many years of being against what do they call it, accredited programs. Like the prison's full of accredited programs, the men hate them, but they're the only things that the prison will pay for. And I've had many years of being against it, so I'd sort of lumped in anything to do with having it in form as not being a good thing. But what I found from shadowing Spark, and then consequently from teaching this curriculum, is that you're still coming from the essence of the principles and the nature of the principles, but you've got a little bit of form to help just bring the room in together. And those two things together make it very powerful.
I'm really aware of time. I'm wondering if we should open it for questions.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, is that all right, Dan?
I was really tuned in, actually. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so anybody got any questions they'd like to ask directly to the guys or anyone else? It's now's your space and now's your time.
Harry.
I have being here, the question was answered because the program is flexible to whoever's presenting it, to whichever audience he's presenting. You know, I'm always aware of, let's say, different audiences than the traditional audiences, and I'm from what I'm hearing. But it was, the question is, does the program adapt? You know, like one of the experiences I had, Jacqueline, was when I taught us in the what Jeff Timms was doing, a self-esteem program, which is a pre-runner to what Krista was doing. And I took it into an Indigenous community. I was weak. I needed structure. I needed support. I loved that, but the stories didn't relate at all to the audience. They weren't Indigenous stories; they were white man stories, and so they didn't relate. I said, "Well, the idea and the curriculum is fine, but the stories have to change because there's no identification with them." That's the question.
So I'll answer that question and then others can chime in. And I agree with you, Harry. But what we've done with the curriculum is made it flexible enough so that, for instance, we've at Beyond Recovery have created a short version that goes in. People have to work in their cells on their own with it. And we found exactly the same thing. So the guys wrote their stories at the beginning, and we send it in with their stories at the beginning, and actually, you know, their pictures and things like that. And what the guys did when they looked through it is like, the activities don't have to change, because once you have been able to identify yourself, then the activities work across the populations. And that's certainly what we've found anyway.
Did that answer that for you, Harry?
Well, all I hear is, for the essence is, I'll adapt to who the audience is with whatever is required to be effective.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, I can think of times where we'll look over one of the activities or the lessons before we go and teach, and we know who our audience is. So we'll say, you know, Ashley and I would say, oh, we're not going to say that, but we can say it this way, and they will relate to that. So it's just very slight changes.
Yeah.
And I think too, in my experience, you know, at the end of the day, you know, what we're getting to is where, you know, what we're pointing to is where people connect underneath all their differences. And so we can actually, the activities and the conversations that we're having kind of drop beyond that. And so, you know, stories get collected and they get created and they get shared, and people start to see where they're actually the same rather than different. And so we come in with different exercises, and I don't, to date, I don't think I've had an exercise where people have kind of said that I don't know what you're talking, this doesn't relate to me, I can't do this, you know, because people get a gain for seeing something new. And when you kind of introduce something in a kind of open, kind of get curious kind of way, you know, and people are in the room and they want to see something new, they'll rise to the occasion. You know, that's my experience. So I don't feel like there's like, oh, this is for, we got to squeeze this into that, we got to change things to fit different people, because at the end of the day, we're talking about universal truth and we're pointing to what's the same in everybody. And then we can experience differences, but I think this really speaks to, it's like it works across the board in my experience.
That was kind of a question I was going to put across to you guys as well. Like, would this apply in any other settings, or does it apply in every settings? Does it, or is it does, doesn't it? Like that's the whole point. Do you know what I mean?
Principles, you know,
Exactly,
it's like, we happen to be working with this population. You know, we work with the prison populations. It's our thing. But at the end of the day, the exercises, I mean, you know, the conversations, the topics, the objectives, that we're sharing the same thing. So it's you know, it's not, it's like, no, you can't use it anywhere except for this population, because everything is geared towards people in prison are human beings that are no different from anybody else, you know, and we've all got minds and we all see things the same way, and we all kind of get caught up in our bullshit, and it leads to behavior that gets us in trouble. But at the end of the day, we're all the same. So I don't think there's no difference. We're all humans.
That's obviously, from my point of view, being on the receiving end of your teachings and your facilitating, like Jacqueline's and stuff. You're not the same as, you didn't come from where I come from. You didn't come from where the gang kids come from, but the feeling in the room, it's the feeling it happens, and it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing or who you are. That feeling is the most important. So thank you.
And I just got to jump in here. I got a hard end at 1:30. I've got an intake call I've got to go to. So in case I just disappear, I just want to say thank you very much, everybody, for coming. And I'm just going to kind of shut up now. You can carry on. And I just wanted to disappear without.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you. Any more questions, guys?
Come on, give us some questions.
Nikki has a question, I see.
Go on, Nikki.
Yeah, just couldn't unmute myself. So with the costs, you say that it incorporates a 12-month license. So assuming that to be able to share the curriculum, you would need to renew that license every year. Do you have that figure of what that would be as a renewal fee?
Go on, Brooke.
I was going to say, I'm not sure that we have. I don't remember.
Lindsay must know.
That's actually something we have not discussed yet as a team. So, but thank you for raising that, because it means we need to finalize it.
In the moment, in the flow here, we are practicing what we preach.
See how real we are.
We'll get an email soon, Nikki.
Yes, you can.
Make sure that they've got it. Anybody else? Anything else, Nikki, that you want to ask about that?
No, I mean, my difficulty is that I see such value in all of these. You know, I've been familiar with the principles probably for the last 5 years. I've been to the conferences online, in person and online, and I see all these initiatives and all these curriculum things, and I just see it's so necessary, without a shadow of a doubt. I think the difficulty is, particularly during the current climate that we're in at the moment, it's down to funding and being able to get into schools to be able to. I mean, I am a teacher. I'm strongly thinking of coming out of the profession, and finding a different way to help and support young people. And this is something that just sounds fantastic, but I just know it's so difficult when there's no funding for schools to be able to get these programs up and running.
Yeah.
And that's a sad state, because if we could get this understanding across to young people, and it make a difference so early on in their lives, we wouldn't be having the mental health problems that we have as they grow into young adults.
Yeah.
And I'm so passionate about it.
Well, the thing is, isn't we will be running another training program. It's not like if you don't sign up now, that's it. You know, and when you're ready, come back. So
yeah. Thank you.
I think having that passion is how we can get it places. I mean, Anna started just by showing up, and it's now become the Insight Alliance, and it can grow if people believe in it. And even last night, I was helping Anna to facilitate a class, and it was all on Zoom. Obviously, that's not the funding piece, but the fact that people were still, it was resonating with people over, you know, Zoom and having an effect in a first meeting. And, you know, you can just see as people start to have that understanding sort of come to light, how it can change things. So it'll be interesting.
Thank you.
My name is Blue right now, and I'm just a part of the Insight Alliance. And also one other thing, I think it's really important that we remember, like Daniel was saying, like, even if we talk about like a population that we're working with, there's no homogeneity within like the prison system, you know, like it's all within the prison context, but people come from you know, vastly different backgrounds and experiences. So those things are super important, just like in a school and just like in the community.
I could add to that. Beyond Recovery was doing, we're trying to get groups together for the prison officers. So it wasn't just for the prisoners, it was for the prison officers. So the relationship between the two bonded and got better, you know. So it is for everyone. It is for everyone. Thank you very much. So it's obviously time's coming to an end now. Please, if there is anything else anyone wants to add, please do it now. If there's anything relevant that needs to be spoke about, that would be appreciated. Caroline.
I just wanted to ask how you what it was the course was about. I was just intrigued what people thought they were going to. How was it advertised or kind of promoted? What do you call it? In the prisons.
Well, in Beyond Recovery, we actually called it Insight to Wellbeing, and it's been called other things as well. But yeah, tell me more about your question. What do you?
I was just curious as to how people are. I mean, obviously, it's a prison situation. I don't know how compulsory the courses are, but I was just curious also as to what actually gets people interested in this sort of thing. So yeah, but Insight to Wellbeing.
The truth is coffee.
Free coffee and biscuits.
Biscuits.
Okay.
Sweets that you ain't seen on the wing.
Smiling faces.
I will say, from my experience, we're not allowed to bring in coffee, or we tried and they said, no, you can just bring yourselves. But I was really shocked because we just used the title Insight to Wellbeing. And I was kind of in the camp like, well, are people going to relate to that? Are they going to want, do they even know what that means? And it really, really was the like well-being. Like everyone, even if they're conscious of it or not, they really are interested in their own well-being. And so it was kind of an instant gravitation, because we even asked our group, like, what brought you here? And that's what they said.
And I can say, oh, sorry, Brooke. I can say from the Insight Alliance, we have just a program flyer that we send in. And the one sentence that we have on our posters that we've heard over and over and over again that really pulls people to our classes is we say, you are not broken, you do not need fixing. And that has been such a huge pull for a lot of our participants.
And yourself, like when you show up and you're in your own well-being, people are naturally drawn to that.
I think people sometimes in the prison system are resistant to being taught something. And so the concept of actually having that knowledge within you already, and that it's going to be illuminated by the class, your innate well-being is actually really appealing to people as well.
Yeah.
In the UK, you don't have to do the course. You know what I mean? It's not like an accredited course. It's not, as Jacqueline was saying, these accredited courses are they're not for everyone. Not we don't like them. Well, I say we didn't like. I didn't like them, and a lot of us didn't. But this, I honestly walked past this room and I see these smiles on these faces, and I was like, what the heck? What is that about? How can someone be so happy and warm and welcoming in this environment? It don't make sense. And then you're sitting there for half an hour. It does make sense completely. And that's why I'm here today.
That's a good place to end.
Thank you very much, guys, for being here today. And any questions, send your emails over. They'll all be answered in due course. So
Yeah, thank you
hope
guys.
you join.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Take care, guys.
Thank you,
Still love everyone.
Thank you.
Share the love and share the feeling.
Top
with
job,
the
Dan.
rest
See
of the
you,
world.
Karen.
Andrew. I'm gonna contact
Yeah,
you.
guys.
Stay in touch. Good to see you as well, Kate.
Bye,
All right,
Simon.
Dan, top job, mate.
See you tomorrow.